All right, you guys that follow, of course, Rippaverse, we got some special things that are being prepared right now. Maybe if you are seeing this after Monday, you've already seen the stuff that has been announced. Appreciate all your continued support, but because we're going to be very Rippaverse centric in the next week or so, I wanted to go ahead and talk about this. This actually happened today as far as the removal of this weird, bizarre post by DC Comics. Moving over to my monitor here. So this was a video, by the way, in which they used a bunch of the Bat Family characters. I think Spoiler and Orphan were part of it as well. And they, as it says right here, it says tag the friend that needs to see this. And it was essentially that saying that everybody in their, I guess, their friend circle has this type of character or this type of person in it. And it says the always online bisexual one for DC. For Tim Drake. Now, remember, this is a relatively recent phenomena that he's bisexual out of nowhere, ironically, just bringing up the fact that Spoiler was a thing and that was his love interest, and now all of a sudden he's bisexual now. Nonetheless, as you can see right now, it said the always online bisexual. That is what they lead with. I talked with the great Chuck Dixon, who pretty much, I mean, definitely throughout the 90s defined this character, and some other members of the Bat Family as well. And looking at, or if you go watch that old conversation, though we did recently talk to both Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan, in the old conversation, first conversation I had with Chuck Dixon, he talks about, like, it's not like they made him interesting. It's not like they made him better as a character or anything. It's just now he's gay. And that's exactly what this is. And that's what you're seeing right now, is that they're leading with this. I know gaslighters like to think that, well, oh man, you guys have issues with this type of person and that type of person. And it's like, no, for one, it's the retcon of these characters for the name, or in the name of this weird sort of social justice nonsense. It's not just that, but it's that you uncreative hacks lead with that sexuality stuff, and then you expect everybody else to just be on board with it, and this is exactly what you get. Now, the thing that makes this interesting now is that the post no longer is a thing. Okay, so you see, this was my tag of this where I said dead company. That's what DC stands for. And the tweet was deleted. So I know it was starting to get ratioed at some point when I had posted about it. And you could see that was this morning. And now you can see that it is completely removed. This was a terrible idea. It was a really stupid post, nonsensical post. But yeah. They just removed it. So obviously maybe it's one of those things, and that often happens. You get the person that's running the social media team, and then someone's like probably comes in later, maybe their superiors, and like, yeah, that probably was not the best kind of post to do. Let's go ahead and get that removed to try to mitigate any sort of damage. But the damage has already been done. We already knew what you, same thing that you did with John Kent. You're leading with the sexuality thing because you're like I said, not creative. You're hacks. And you have to lead with these sort of things that should be, let's say this, the least interesting, I know, oxymoronic, but it should be the least thing that is interesting about the character. But when you are a hack, this is what you get. And yeah, they're going to continue to beat you over the head with this whole sexuality thing. He is really, really gay if you've seen some of the panels. And they want you to know about it. And apparently you all have friends in your circle that are all bisexual, which I don't know about that. I think they're overstating how many bisexual people there are in the world. But nonetheless, maybe you do have friends. But the whole post was like suggesting that everybody has this sort of, if you have a friend circle, you have this type of person. And it was like the leader, it was the yada yada. And of course, poor Tim Drake, the most interesting thing that they had about him is that he's perpetually online, and he's bisexual. Wow, just great things these guys are doing over at DC.